Check this out. I've got Attio syncing to Google Sheets so that all of my team members can see live data without ever logging into Attio. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to use Whalesync to sync data from Google Sheets into Attio or vice versa. This allows you to share data that lives in Attio with non-sales or team members that prefer to work out of other platforms like Sheets, or maybe you're just simply using these platforms to collect information about companies, people, leads, etc., and only want to sync relevant information into Attio. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the data that I want to sync over, the people that I want to sync over as well. So we have companies and we have people. And one thing I'll just do here is related companies, because I want to set up a relationship between these people and these companies. Related underscore people. And okay, now I'm going to go into Whalesync and select New Sync, Google Sheets, copy this URL, authorize, and just select the account in which the Google Sheet is living in. Save. And Attio. Confirm. Save. And now I'm going to create my table mappings. So people and companies. If you want to set up a relationship, then you should do it at the table mapping stage. So select the tables that you want to set up the relationship between. So create table mappings, create Whalesync ID columns, and you'll see there. And you don't want to touch this, you don't want to delete anything or change anything, or the sync will not work. So we have, in our people, we have job title, we have name, and then I'm just gonna copy some fields from Attio. It's a lot easier this way. Maybe LinkedIn, email address, and then company. And you can see I have this set to a two-way sync. If I just wanted to sync over data from Attio into Google Sheets, I would select this arrow here. And then if I just wanted to sync over data from Google Sheets into Attio, I would just select this arrow here. And if I want some fields to be two-way synced, then I'll want to select that here, and then change the ones that I don't want to two-way sync. And now I'm just going to make sure that companies, so companies is in that's my companies sheet, and I want to sync this over to company. And company is a relationship attribute under the people object in Attio. And then same thing with companies here. Let me just copy some fields. I want to do domain and then team, because again I want to create a relationship, and team is a relationship attribute in Attio, and it basically shows you all of the people associated with that company. So in my sheets, this is called people, and I want to sync that over to team. So let me just change this because this is not correct. Company domain should be domains, but I have that mapped, so I need to change that. Domains. And now company name should be synced over to the name field. And then let me just double check people. Yeah, looks good. And then you can always set up a filter here as well. So let's say you have a large set of data and you don't want to sync over everyone. You just want to make sure you're syncing people or companies or whatever it is. You want to sync over that data that matches the criteria you're looking for, you can just set up a filter here. So for example, if I just wanted to sync over people that actually have an email address, I can do where email address is not empty, or I can do, maybe just if I'm looking for specific job titles, I can do job title contains X here. And of course I can do the same thing on companies, but I'm just going to get rid of this. My set of data here is so small that I don't need to do that. Another thing to know is with the two-way sync, you do have to be very cognizant of that, because any changes that you make in Attio, those changes will be reflected in Google Sheets and vice versa. So if you delete someone, it will also delete in your Google Sheet. So just something to be aware of. I think it's a very powerful and helpful feature, but again, something you want to just be cognizant of. So now I'm going to save and continue. Some tables might have conflicting data. Just click resolved and scan existing records. And normally Whalesync figures this out on its own. So yeah, I'm using a demo Attio account, so I don't have any records in there, so no records were found, but of course it has found records in Google Sheets. So now continue, confirm, and you can see at this point we have our Whalesync ID. So what I'm going to do is copy my people Whalesync ID, and obviously just make sure that this is in order. Mine I know is, there you go, I have less companies or more companies than I do people. Oh, and then same thing here. So like so, and I don't need those. You can see, looks good, yeah. And you need to do this in order to create the relationship between these two objects. So I'm going to go back to Whalesync, activate my sync, confirm. And now it's just running the initial sync, so we'll just have to wait a couple of moments. And at this point, you can see the relationship being created here. So you can see the company being associated with the person, and then, of course, vice versa. So often you do have to move past the initial sync and activate the full sync in order for the relationship to be created between the person and the company. But looks great. And now, again, keep in mind, I have a two-way sync here, so any changes I make in here will reflect in my Google Sheet. So for example, if I go ahead and, let's say I want to delete this person from Attio. I don't know why I would do that, but let's say I'm doing that. I'm going to delete that record, but let me just show you quickly. Abby Bird, and this is sample data, by the way, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so delete Abby. And you can tell it's listening and waiting for changes. And then shortly we'll see Abby deleted. Oh, there you go. So that's again why I keep saying be careful with two-way sync, because if you make any changes or delete anyone anywhere, then you might lose that data completely. So again, very powerful, but you need to just be careful. But yeah, this looks really good, and I love how I was able to create the relationship between these people and these companies straight from Google Sheets. Hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about using Whalesync to sync your data between Google Sheets and Attio, or even more generally, feel free to leave a comment in this video right below, and happy syncing!